Hi everyone, and welcome once again to TFT Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. This is me, Oberon, with my weekly show, The Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges, where I give a brief tarot reading about the emotional ups and downs and outlooks for the week ahead for each of the zodiac signs as they're organized through their elemental association. So to do that, I work with several decks, so we're going to just jump right into that. And the first thing we actually do is a collective reading for everyone. And for that, I use the Isis Tarot, which is not really a tarot at all, but has some tarot images and symbology in it. It's more like a regular kind of oracle, possibly fortune-telling deck. So I'm just going to shuffle these up real quick, and we'll pull one at random and see what we get. Okay, nothing up my sleeve, always from the middle. And it is Ma'at reversed. So in addition to some of the archetypes from the tarot, it does have some other Egyptian kind of stuff going on there. So I'm going to look this up really quick. All right. Troubles with law and litigation. Administrative mills grinding slowly, abuse of power by officials and bureaucrats, visits by the police. And of course, that sounds like at least one political public figure lately. So I guess it's in the air, as they say. Hopefully that's not any of us. So we're going to get on now. And of course, we are starting with the air signs. There they are. Air signs, which are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. This reading's for you. So I shuffle two decks, one for the focus and then one for the general reading. Mostly the decks are pre-shuffled before the session, and then I just give a couple more tosses just to pick up that vibe maybe. I want to thank everybody for coming today. This reading is actually for August 6th till next Thursday, the 12th. All right, and now from the Eclipse Tarot, the focus for the week. Evolution. Evolution is the word of the week. Evolution says that in our emotional framework, our way of viewing things from our emotional center, we're evolving. We are maybe learning some new concepts about higher love. Maybe we just call that appreciation for other people. But maybe our hearts are opening, or some of us, and we are actually evolving as a heart-driven person. I am noting too that there's a picture there of what may be a mummy, or it's a figure maybe from a sarcophagus, and then there's the tiny Ka flying above it. The little wing thing that's holding something. Can't quite see it from here. But the idea, I think, was that this is spirit, and so it's the heart. I mean, they think that, I think some Egyptians thought that the heart was really the center of all intelligence, emotional and otherwise. So let's get on with our reading. What will bring the air signs happiness this week? And we have the Prince of Swords upright. The Prince of Swords is the Page of Swords. So there's a sense of messengering. I think that maybe air signs are happy because they feel that they're enlivened to the dance of romance or pleasant emotional feelings. They're feeling the grace and skill of maneuvering towards the person that maybe they're attracted or drawn to. So they're feeling the dance of love, the dance of romance perhaps. It's actually that quality of doing that, of courtship, if you want to call it that, or of resonating to somebody who you want to be your friend even. It's actually that journey of doing that that's bringing the pleasure. So then, what are the challenges this week? What will emotionally challenge the air signs? And it's the reversed Four of Discs, which we also know as the Four of Pentacles. And I believe that the challenge is from an emotional point of view, perhaps feeling that we can't give as much as we want to. Maybe that translates a little bit into the material realm. You know, everybody gets those advertisements or calls to donate money, time, resources to save the fill in the blank, whatever it is. And most of those are, of course, well-intended, although sometimes when you investigate them, you realize that most of the donation goes towards administrative costs and doesn't really go towards those it's supposed to help. This could be indicated by this card in a sense that maybe we don't want to give, that we're feeling a little bit more on the hold on side if it's pertaining to helping things from an emotional core, as I've just explained, because maybe we don't actually trust some of that. So that's the challenge this week for the air signs, is knowing when to give and when not to give when it comes to somebody's emotional duress that maybe is calling for help on the physical, emotional, and other planes. Finally, what is of concern to our friends or for those who we care the most for? And it's the reversed Ace of Swords. And I think people around us are feeling like maybe they failed, especially if they've been trying to find a way to inspire and begin maybe a new set of relationships, a new romance, that they're feeling like maybe they overplayed their hand a little bit. Maybe they were overly forceful in trying to engage on a more emotional level of some sort. And maybe they're just feeling, you know, like they're a failure. And so it may be your job to help assure them that they're not a failure, that, you know, they just need to maybe meter out what they feel there. So we're going to go over this again. Our word of the week is evolution. Not only are we hoping to evolve ourselves as spiritual loving beings, but maybe we can reflect and mentor some of that with others around us. Now, what does bring us happiness, I think, is that we feel we are really dancing to the tune of higher loving emotions, whether it's romance or something else. We're just feeling like that journey, that movement, that grace and fluidness, that's really making us feel happy. And what challenges us, though, is that maybe we don't want to give too much away in that dance. Maybe we want to preserve a little mystery of what we are going to really give to the relationships that we commit ourselves to, whether they're romantic or whether they're caring for someone or whether they're just really good feelings. We want to really watch some of that. And finally, those around us, though, they may need a little bit of help or assistance or care because they're sort of feeling like maybe they don't get how to do that more graceful dance. So maybe you have to help them with that, air signs. All right, so that's what I have for the air signs. And we're going to move on now to our friends, the fire signs. And fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So this one's for them. We're going to go ahead and give them their word, their focus of the week. Oh, fire signs, look at that. How fabulous. You have the sun. From an emotional point of view, this is certainly really heady kind of stuff here, because I guess it's really saying that, for those who are seeking emotional strength and emotional satisfaction and fulfillment, you have nothing but to think about the sun, that maybe this is that week where it all comes together, whether it's really talking about love or whether it's talking about strong spiritual love for people, or people that we just care about because they're our best friends or they're our loving children, cousins, whatever. So now we're going to go on to the rest of the reading. And I want to give a special shout out to my friend Robin in California, who is very sincerely helping me with some of the promotion work for TFT. Really appreciate their help. Thank you so much, Robin. Okay, our first card is about what is emotionally happy for you this week, what pleases you, what do you like, what's happening. And it's the Three of Discs reversed, so that's the Three of Pentacles reversed. So it is reversed, and maybe it's saying we're happy not to stand out too much in the limelight, especially as this may be that not all things are architects of physical expression, like the Three of Discs sometimes talks about. We're in an emotional reading, so maybe this is talking about the architect of maybe putting people together, or maybe smoothing out tense situations, or finding a way to matchmake some people. Putting people together could refer to that, but it could also just talk about helping people achieve a unity for working relationships. This is saying that you don't want to be standing out in the limelight. You don't want to be known for doing that. You're happy maybe to really know that you've done that vital work, that you have kind of helped out relationships. And I was speaking about Robin a moment ago, and I think, Robin, that almost sounds like you in a way. So if you're watching, you'll have to let me know if you think that too. But moving on, the next card involves what is challenging for the fire signs this week. And we have that Ace of Swords again, only this time it's an upright card. So it does really look more like a challenge. It's the beginning of a quest, or it's the beginning of a pursuit, especially if we're talking about emotional issues. Maybe it's really also too about you're creating or forging a friendly group, a group of associates or friends. Maybe it's a neighborhood group. Maybe it's, a book club. But something that involves high emotional value or content to some degree. And of course, book club. Hey, who wouldn't want to curl up and sip tea or have a glass of wine with their best friends while they're discussing books or talking about books? So these are things that we could love too. So maybe your challenge is to find a way to do that, to find a way to create this friendly association that's really going to empower you as well as others. So then finally, what is of concern to the loved ones around you, whether they're your spouse or your lover or children or best friends or things like that, coworkers that you really care about? And it's the Empress. And I think those around us that we care about also truly want to nurture and care for and cultivate us as well as others too. So it's a big mutual love kind of situation here, where maybe fire signs, you are kind of hitting your stride and hitting the right spots with all those around you who you impact. And they're saying, I love you, fire signs, and you do for me what I want to do for you. Help you grow, nurture you, respect you, etc. So let's look over this again for our friends, the fire signs. And we are told that we have it all this week. We are the sun. We are lucky. We are knowledge. We are love on every level. What we're hoping to make us happy, or what we see making us happy, is that we know we've done some good work and we don't really need to be praised for that. The doing of the work itself, especially if we're talking about this building friendships, matchmaking, helping people get along, that's its own reward in a way, fire signs. And some of you fire signs, I know you are exactly about that. Now, what is challenging, of course, is maybe we just want to take it to another level. Maybe we want to keep on doing this. We want to find other associations to challenge, to create something new, new beginnings that maybe are moving ahead. There's that whole sword projection of energy thing, but we're talking about projecting this into really emotional, pleasant encounters, creating unions or unions of people. And then finally, those around us are saying, gosh, fire signs, aren't you the greatest? I want to do what you do. I want to nurture. I am inspired by you, and I feel like I can also embrace the world too. Oh my goodness, I think I'm going to have a cry right now. Not really, but that's what we have for the fire signs, and that was pretty awesome. So now we will move on and hope for the same with our friends, the water signs. And water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And of course, you have a word of the week too, the word that is your focus, your power, etc. And you have the last arcana, number 78, rebirth. Now, this is from the Aglipikos Tarot, which is 78 tarot cards, but they're just numbered sequentially from 1 to 78. And it's kind of interesting because, of course, the Fool, in a sense, is a sense of rebirth, too. But this one is clearly called rebirth. And there's our friend, the Ka, again, only they're flying in a different direction. And I think this is saying, really, from that emotional point of view, the emotions, that everything is really coming back to life in a different kind of way, that maybe there's sort of a sense of time has no meaning here, that all the consequences of your past will really wash away with the water in a way. So isn't that kind of wonderful? I like that. And I'm a water sign too, if you didn't know. So that's especially great for me. I want rebirth. Absolutely. I want my heart to be born again and to meet all the people that I've ever loved again, somehow, some way. So let's get on with the rest of the reading. Oops. You know, they say that what falls to the floor comes to the door, but I'm not taking that one. Banshee, oh, you're trying to come out on me. You're trying to poke yourself out. I didn't like that one either. Let's quit and cut while we're ahead. So our first card is, what brings happiness and pleasure to the water signs this week? And it's the reversed King of Cups. And I'm wondering actually if maybe this is saying that water signs want to take a break, perhaps, from all of their more consular, ministerial, spreading the love duties. They want a little vacation maybe. They feel happy, like maybe they've done good enough, and now is the time for them to maybe get into themselves a little bit. I don't know that this is necessarily about personal enjoyment, but maybe just the idea of being able to not be on for this next week or so as the person who helps everybody with their emotional, help situations. So then what challenges the water signs regardless of that? And of course, it's the reversed High Priestess. And it could be saying that maybe part of the reason why we've had this little bit of alteration here is that we're not feeling it this week. It may be challenging for us to really tap into some of our inner stuff, our inner wisdom. And you know, the water signs maybe to some degree could be more intuitive in general than every other sign, unless of course you have a heavy balance of water sign planets in your own chart. So let's just say that maybe they're more definitively about sensing things or feeling certain things that could actually be true or have impact. And I think this is saying, though, that you're not interpreting some of those signals correctly. Your challenge is the fact is that maybe how you apply what you feel, what you're intuiting, especially as it's concerning emotional matters, you may be not quite getting at. And it's a really challenge for you to either focus that back or to figure out where the wisdom, the knowledge actually is and how you're going to have to apply it. So hopefully that gets better. Now then finally, what will be of concern to your loved ones, your spouses, lovers, parents, grandparents, workers, co-workers, neighbors, all of that. And it is another reverse. My goodness, it's a reversed Queen of Discs. And well, this one's an easy one, sadly, but I'm thinking this is saying you will find that the people around you, they're struggling a little bit, and they're feeling like they don't know exactly how to nurture and bring some things into fruition, especially if we're talking about the emotional things that they need in their lives, that maybe there's a neediness there that's based on their own feelings of not really being able to provide correctly, that normally they would be feeling like they could just watch things grow that they're trying to institute, and something's not working for them. And it may be particular circumstances that are doing that. But in general, for the water signs, this week is kind of an interesting week because your main idea is, of course, to be born again. And maybe that's just because some of these other cards are a little bit challenging, all of them, including the challenge card. But you're feeling like you're happy if you're not really having to work on other people's problems right now, is what I'm thinking, or you're feeling like you don't feel that call right now and you're sort of okay with taking this break in a way. But part of that could be based on the idea that there is this sort of sense of not quite being in tune with your inner wisdom here, sort of maybe second guessing things, not feeling that connection, that resonance per certain situations. And those around you may be feeling that need too, perhaps, because they're feeling like they don't have the ability to take care of themselves, or maybe more likely that they relied on you to help them with some of that. So it's kind of an interesting week for the water signs. It's almost dreadful in a way, and just going to have to hope that next week makes it a little bit better for us. So now we're going to move on to the earth signs. And earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So this one's for you, earth signs. You get a word of the week. Your word of the week is confusion. Well, you're probably looking at the signs that precede you and saying, like, what the hell is going on here? But this could be saying that from that emotional point of view, earth signs may be really questioning all of the boundaries of their own emotional lives and spectrums. Maybe there's a situation that's coming up that is making you really wonder about, your feelings for a certain person or certain people. And it could just be that you're confused because you have the strong feelings, but something has actually made you think that there's more going on that you might have to think about. I think that's confusion in a way, is a sense of more things to think about than you really understand can be helpful. So let's get on with the reading then and see what else we got for the earth signs. And we're going to be closing after that, so I want to thank everybody for coming to the Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. Don't forget to watch some of our other programs, like my Goth Tarot on Wednesdays or Banshee's Material Matters on Sundays. And I'll post that information at the end so you can get that. All right, so what will make Earth signs happy? What will give them pleasure and happiness? And it's the Ace of Wands. And in this context, I'm going to say something starts that's really hot. And it may be a super strong attraction for those who maybe are not connected to a primary relationship or have a situation where they could be looking for somebody. This could be saying like you are looking for that fire. You're looking for somebody that you want to stand next to their fire, as the old song says. It's talking about really developing strong, passionate, magnetic situation. And so that sounds like a romance to me, but it could be something else. It could just be an association with a group that has an incredible dynamic and you're drawn to that. So it could be something like that too. Wands are very creative. The personality could be creative personality, or the gestalt in a group situation could be like that as well. So then finally, not finally, next, what is our challenge for the Earth signs? And we have the reversed Six of Discs, Six of Coins, Six of Pentacles. And this may be saying that the challenge is that I'm seeing a story here. You're really drawn to this fiery person or this idea of having this really hot thing, but you don't necessarily want to play it on your sleeve. You're probably wanting to be a little coy. You don't want to be too generous with exactly how this proceeds. It could be indicating that you're into the long game, that maybe you're looking at whether it's a romance or an association of any sort. You may be looking at this as something that you want to have an investment that goes on. And all the aces talk about beginnings that maybe imply investments, that you have to do some work to get the thing going. And the Six of Discs, whether reversed or upright, may indicate something about this also being how things are invested, whether you're investing freely or whether you feel you can't do that at this time. It may be saying that from that emotional point of view, you're not willing to play all the cards out in the open. So I wonder about that. My intuition, I guess. And then what concerns those around the Earth signs, your best friends, your lovers, your strongest relative relationships, things like that. And it's the Wheel of Fortune reversed. So this could be indicating that maybe someone around you, their emotional life is really upended right now, that maybe something major has happened. You may know somebody that has had a serious hiccup in a primary relationship. I don't think that this card necessarily points towards divorce, but it could be saying something really unexpected change has happened in that relationship, and how that concerns you may be something that only you will realize, because in fact maybe you're the person who is affected by this situation with the other person. So I'm going to sum that up again and tell us that basically this is a week of confusion. Hey, you think? And the confusion may revolve around the fact that we feel incredibly strong passion about someone or a couple of someone, some association, some project. We love it so much, we're so drawn to it, but maybe we don't necessarily want to indicate that exactly. Our challenge may be to not over-invest ourselves in that emotionally or otherwise at this time. And how that may concern others is that maybe there is the sense here that there's a big hiccup in their lives, there's a change, a status quo with you. So you're almost wondering how that connection all fits together there. I'm going to kind of leave that for the Earth signs to figure out. And I hope that you do, and I hope that all the signs really do have really good potentials this week. And we'll be back next week, next Friday. That's going to be the 13th, Friday the 13th. So we'll see if we can spin you some lucky love stuff instead of, what you usually get on Friday the 13th. So that's it for Oberon, and thanks once again for watching. I'll see you next week.